Welcome back, everyone, to our Courageous Leadership with Virginia Prodan. We are so glad to have you back. We are delighted to encourage you, to motivate you, and to train you to live a life of significance and success, and to share the truth in love and fight for freedom in America. Because we live in a very, very different time that we used to live. For those of you who are new, I am Virginia Prodan. I'm an international human rights attorney, a speaker, and writer. Tyndale published my memoir, Saving My Assassin, and I'm the host of this podcast. And I love to invite courageous leaders that will share with us and will motivate even more to fight for freedom in America and to realize that our voice, it's important. And one of those courageous leaders that I invited again to our podcast is John Gordon. He's a legal analyst, host of The Truth with John Gordon. And we love for you, John, to be back on our podcast. Thank you so very much for joining us.
It is my pleasure, Virginia, and Happy New Year to you and all of your viewers.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. I enjoy being on your podcast too, and we receive lots of good comments. We love what you are doing, and today I want to start our podcast with what do you think about where America is going? What do you think about the fact that after so many years of doing horrible things, a dictator is captured and brought to America to stay in trial?
Well, it's so hard to talk about where America is going right now because President Trump and his administration are active on all levels. I've never seen an administration take on so much all at once. He has not been in office yet a full year. He's coming up on a year in another week or so, maybe 10 days. But he is remaking our economy. He has closed the borders. He is deporting illegals, especially bad guys. It's turned out to be a messy proposition, and it doesn't help that we have infidels among us, like Tim Walz and the mayor of Minneapolis, and Governor Pritzker, all of whom seem to be determined to fight Trump on everything and anything. President Trump is remaking our economy in a spectacular fashion, and he has ended wars all over the world. Gaza, we have a peace treaty. Will it hold? Is it holding? It's on shaky grounds. Pakistan and India have gone to neutral corners. He's trying to end the war in the Ukraine. That's proven to be more difficult than even President Trump imagined that it would be. But it's setting the tone across the globe that we have got to get along together, and I want to start a new dialogue. I would like to be the originator and simply ask the question: on what do we agree? On what can we agree? I mean, a great place to start for me would be the Ten Commandments. If you take the biblical component out, not for my benefit, but for the benefit of the people that are not Christian, that do not recognize the Bible. But could we not agree across the entire globe and for all religions, all political perspectives, that we value human life? I mean, I know everyone values their own life, but can we agree that we value the lives of all citizens of the globe? That would be a good first step. And the number of political assassinations and attempted assassinations is really upsetting to me, starting in with John F. Kennedy in 1963, coming all the way up to the current day with the near assassination of President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. And then, of course, the very sad taking of one of America's treasures. Charlie Kirk was, beyond question, the smartest person I've ever had the privilege of knowing. And he was a patriot, husband, father, a disciple of God and Jesus. He was a man of strong faith. He was a role model for legions of people. I don't even think Charlie knew how many people he influenced around the whole world until his tragic death. And we saw 1 million people turn out in the streets of London to memorialize him and also protest his assassination. So I think that we've got to inject a moral fiber into our world community, and that we could add do not steal. We're not going to steal from one another. Can we agree on that? I mean, if we can't agree on that, does that mean that I can go into the homes of people who refuse to agree to that and take their stuff? Can we agree that we're going to be faithful to our spouse? Can we agree that we're not going to covet someone else's spouse? So if we just go down the 10 Commandments, I mean, I think we could agree that people can worship their own God. You don't have to worship my God, but do you have a God that you can worship? If you don't, that's your choice. But if you do, I'm going to respect your right to worship whatever God you select. And I'm not going to go to war over the fact that you believe in a God differently than I do. I mean, look at how many people since year one, since after Christ, or go back before Christ, how many people have died over religion? And has it accomplished anything? Has there been one more convert because of a war over religion? I mean, I don't know. I've never read any information that relates to that. But my suspicion is that when someone of the Islam faith yells death to America, that they do more to polarize people than they do to bring them together. And so what do they accomplish other than creating enemies for themselves? So that's just sort of, my psyche and where I'm at in terms of how we could bring people together and just ask the simple question.
I believe
on what
you're
can
right.
we agree? I'm sorry?
I believe you are right about what President Reagan, President Trump is doing, and what the Republican Party is trying really hard to do, to communicate and find out ways that we agree upon. And, but on the other side, we have liberals, Democrats. They are not... they are not ready to communicate with us. They are ready to impose on us whatever they want. They, the government is sending eyes to arrest illegals and rapists and horrible people that were sent here by the former administration in America, killing and stealing and doing all the things. And the liberals are encouraging people, even governors or mayors in different liberal states, encouraging people to attack ICE, not to respect the law. And I believe we are at a tipping point in America where we have to ask ourselves how these people can remain in their position where they are talking about not respecting the law. It is very important to make sure that we communicate with, we agree with them, but in the same time, the government will take measure against those kind of leaders that will promote, if you want, revolution. They want communists and socialists in America. And it's so strange that a dictator from Venezuela who did horrible things in his country, socialist and communist country, is brought to justice in America, in New York, in a state where people elected a democratic socialist, a communist to be their mayor. And that is something that we have to make sure that those people will, or Americans, learn the lesson. How can we help President Trump, who, like you, say, you know, he established amazing things about houses, about the credit card, you know, to help people and to help first time people buying the you know, home. Many people say the American dream is back again, but he is fighting with so many people and all over America. It's like we have a enemy here in America.
I agree with you. So when you ask the question, what can we do? The first thing you can do is make sure that you vote in the midterms.
Yeah.
60% of America's eligible voters vote for in a presidential contest. That number falls off to 40% in a midterm election. And that's why, you know, we've got to concern ourselves with the next midterm election coming up in just a little over a year. So Americans have got to go to the polls for the midterms. I said in a little over a year. It's less than a year. It's in November. So this is we're at a critical time, and every American needs to pledge to do their civic duty, to go to the trouble to become informed on the issues, on the candidates, and show up at the polls. President Trump drove record turnout 2 years ago or a year and a few months ago when he was elected. And we desperately need those people to come back to the polls and vote in the midterms. If they did, not only could we retain control of both houses, we would achieve a supermajority in both houses. And that's what we really need in order to be able to put the liberal retards in their place. These people are delusional. And I think their vision and their ability to reason is tainted by their own selfishness and their greed for power, which they are rapidly losing. Because the fact of the matter is that these socialist tendencies, the reflex to socialism, is the worst thing that could happen to them and us. It simply does not work. Russia was communist. They have moved to more of a capitalist society. Same for China. Now, their government has retained the elements of communism because they rule with an iron hand, and the leaders have no problem killing their opponents.
Yeah,
Putin
I
killed his
grew up.
opponent.
I grew up in communist, and I live under a dictator, Nicolae Ceausescu, and they live as leaders of the communist government. They live in a flourishing, you know, houses and absolutely everything, and the government starved us to death. I cannot scream loud enough for American people to hear and realize that if we let communists to come to America, people will suffer. People will die and will be killed. And even after the communist collapse, which is 40, 50 years, many times more than that, look at China, to rebuild what communists destroy, it's very, very hard. So I believe you are right, for people to pledge to go and vote. But I will add to that is go and vote as a knowledgeable voter. Search and find out about people in your area that you will support, and make sure that you know exactly your principle align with the people that you will vote for. Another thing I will say is help others, like single mom, that go and maybe watch their kids while they go to vote, or drive her and her kids and you take care of the kids in the car when she goes to vote. Or elderly people, they might not be able to go and vote, take them to vote, help them to be knowledgeable about what they are voting for. We have a platform. You have a huge platform. I have a platform with the podcast. One of the things that we can do is to let people know what either side stands for clearly, not like the media sometimes, the special liberal media, it's lying to people, continue to lie. Look at the current situation. Instead of focusing on fraud and what the governor and people have done, stealing money, now they want to focus on ISIS and presented videos from different platform and from different view, even though the government present clear that the ICE officer killed that person because she was trying to run him over. And they are trying really hard to move the focus from fraud to this situation. They try everything that is possible, but we have to be focused too. So besides voting, what else what else is possible for us to do in this situation?
Well, there are so many things that people can do, and as you said, you can figure out how you can also help someone else get to the polls. Most people have an elderly relative that may or may not be able to get to the polls on their own. So, as you suggested, Virginia, offer to take them to the polls. Talk it up in your church, on your block. Um, Write your friends and relatives and tell them how important this midterm election is. Because I am saying this with no hyperbole. I'm not exaggerating. We were as close to losing this country as I've ever believed and seen in 2024. If Trump hadn't won, we would have Kamala Harris and we would have chaos. We would have 9% inflation. We would have massive deficits. We would have a dramatic, swift turn towards socialism. And right now, we've got 37 trillion in debt. The interest payments alone are $1 trillion a year. It is not sustainable. The one thing that I hope President Trump will do is get the budget under control. It has to happen, or else we will have no country. Our entire economy has the potential of collapsing, as many great empires have done. The Roman Empire, the British Empire, the Spanish Empire, the British Empire, the empire in Denmark, all collapsed. And it is a cycle that repeats. A new country becomes powerful. They have a currency that is backed by real minerals or like gold and silver. It becomes a currency that people believe in. And the other country has taken on massive amounts of debt. The rich people start to leave, start to take their money out and put it in this new country. The old empire starts to decline, and then it implodes. It starts very slowly, but then when you get to the point where it's no longer sustainable, it just implodes. And we've seen that happen for thousands of years in those empires that I spoke about. And the cycle is all the same. I read very smart people that believe that we are in phase 3 of a phase 4 cycle, where people are, the smart money is very quietly but deliberately taking money out of the United States and putting it in other countries where they have greater confidence in the country and its financial condition. Now, it's not too late. We can stop it. But the leaders in this country have got to get real. And the biggest fear that I've got are the crazed Democrats that don't seem to either understand or don't care. And I'm not sure which it is. I think there is an element that don't want to, that really don't care about our country, that only care about themselves. They care about getting reelected. In the case of Ilhan Omar, who we have pretty positive proof is on the take. She is engaged in fraud and she's put money in her own pocket. She went from a negative net worth to now $25 or $30 million since 2018. I mean, why are we allowing this to happen? And she has got has had no consequence. The United States Congress needs to censor her, and the Justice Department needs to open an investigation.
Yes, exactly. One of the things that I hope that President Trump will do is open an investigation against those people who are taking advantage of, being in a position, and they're supposed to work for people, but they work for themselves and they enrich themselves. But we know that President Trump changed our military. It's just transformed our military into a very powerful, and he won in many areas in economy. And you look at the gas price and so forth. And it is an external and internal attack against America and freedom in America. But we as a Christian, we know that there is a spiritual attack too. And we have this confidence and this promise that God said to us, if my people, which means you and me, Christians, if my people will repent, turn from their wicked way, I will heal them and I will heal the land. Our hope is in God, and He is able to do it. He is in charge of the every life, my life, your life, and everybody's life, and also of the situation of every nation. All we need to do is, as Christians, to turn to God, not on our terms, but on His terms. And like you said, the Bible tells us exactly what to do and how He will protect us and He will heal the land. And we are so grateful that by the grace of God, President Trump is our president, and he fights, he is ready and openly fights for religious freedom in America and in any other country. He fights for us, for our economy, and for the next generation. He proposed things that were never proposed. For kids that will be born in America to receive $1,000 so they can be the future capitalists of America. So President is doing, and his cabinet is doing everything that is possible. But like you said, it's time for us Americans to wake up. to wake up and stand up and be the fighters and the conquerors in Christ's power that God created us to be. And we will see that victory. We will see that victory at election. We will see that victory in preserving the freedom for us and for generations to come.
Well, I think that is all very well said, Virginia, and I would repeat everything that you just said. When I was born in the United States a long, long time ago, 90%, 90 of the percent of the population was Christian. Today, that number has declined to 40%. Now, that's a staggering number to me. And I wish there were a way that we could get back to our Judeo-Christian beliefs and our roots and transform this country back into a moral place. I think it is happening. The Supreme Court reversed Roe v. Wade. I think that was very significant. We've gotten the FBI and the Justice Department out of targeting Catholics and religious organizations. And so, and the young people in this country are returning to the church in droves. So the trend lines are very good, but we all have to join hands together and work to help keep this country on a high moral ground. For me, the Bible works perfectly well. And as I said, I respect other people to worship as they choose. But I think that there's more similarities between religions than there are dissimilarities. And if we can just come up on those few things that we can all agree on, I think the world and our country would be a much better place in which to live.
Thank you so very much, John, for coming to our podcast. Would you please share with audience where they can find you?
Well, it's such an honor and a pleasure and a privilege to be with you, Virginia. We have not known each other long, but I have developed such a huge amount of respect for you and feel a real kinship towards you and value you as a new friend. We welcome all of your listeners to join us on the John Fredericks Radio Network. We're in 9 cities on 24 AM and FM radio stations every Saturday and Sunday from noon to 2. You can listen in if you're not in one of those cities: Atlanta, Nashville, Richmond, Norfolk, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Morgantown, and Lynchburg. But if you're not in one of those cities, you can listen in by going to YouTube, Rumble, Getter, X, Facebook Live. Look for John Gordon Truth, and you can listen to us live, or you can find all of our past episodes on johngordon.tv. And of course, if you have anything you'd like to share with me, just write me, johngordontruth@gmail.com.
That is great. Thank you so very much. Appreciate so much. And for some of you that maybe are still thinking, oh, socialist looks so great, the government can take care of myself and so forth, I advise you to read my book, Saving My Assassin. You can find it at virginiaprodanbooks.com/product/book. It's a memoir that will tell you the real life under socialists and communists, and also what America can offer to a person coming empty-handed in America. No friends, no money, and America offered me a possibility to rebuild my life, to go back to school at SMU, to open my law firm, to write my memoir, to go and speak around the world, to raise 3 kids. The first one graduated from SMU, the second one from Harvard Law School, the third one from United States Air Force Academy, because only in America we can rebuild our life, and only with God's help. I hope you go and read my memoir, and you will be convinced that freedom is precious, and freedom that the capitalist system offers is what you need, what I need, and generations to come need. Until next time, I hope you return to Virginia Prodan books.com or to our podcast, and you will share this podcast with others, because John gave us amazing idea and suggestions, and I hope you will visit his website too. Until next time, God bless you. Bye bye.